Hello, my name is Marissa Chatham, and for my worship site report, I decided to do it on the Cathedral Guadalupe Church, located on 2215 Ross Avenue in Dallas, Texas, zip code 75201. I chose this church because a couple of weeks ago I was actually invited by a family friend of mine whose son was getting baptized at this church. So I was able to experience not only a baptism but also a service in this church, which was a really neat experience. And the church was nothing like my Baptist church. So I really enjoyed everything that I saw there. My first initial reaction when I got to the church was I was just mesmerized by the height of the church and all the points. It had like a gothic like architecture with the pointed arches and um, the thickness of like the stone, like the pillars, and it was just I was in awe. The church I came from, it's kind of like just square, like just like a traditional building. Um, but the style of this cathedral was really um, grand, and the height of it really just blew me away. And I ended up asking someone around that I guess worked at the church, and they said like the reason um, that the building was built with such height was to they wanted to get it was like meant for them to get closer to the heavens. So that's why like all cathedrals with this age are built so high, like to reach the sky basically and get closer to God and Jesus and just the heavens in general. Um, let's see. Once I got into the church, it was just like a feeling of elegance was just surrounding me. Um, the stained glass were everywhere. That's what really caught my eye. I love stained glass, and it was beautiful. Um, there were rows and rows of pews, and it was just crazy because they fit a lot. A lot of people can fit inside that church, which I didn't think from the outside. You wouldn't think that that many people could fit inside, but seeing all the pews lined up behind one after another, um, a lot of people could fit inside. Um, Also, there were also pointed arches um, inside the building, which also is like I guess, the Gothic style. So that got carried on inside, and I could tell that a lot of like value, thought, and beauty like had all been incorporated into this building design. So it was like really beautiful. Um, let's see. The religious tradition of this church is the Catholic tradition or Catholic religion. Um, let's see. The personal history, I have found that they have their own website online, and I was able to do some extra research on this church. And the the building was built in the 1900s. I want to say like 1902. Originally, there was another smaller church down the street, but I believe they outgrew that church and bought this land where the Guadalupe Cathedral, is at now, and they ended up shutting down the old church and built this one. So it was built around the 1900s, and it is actually like the largest cathedral congregation in the United States, which I had no idea. I'm always in the downtown Dallas area, and I see the church or this cathedral all the time, like driving or walking. And you would think it's just an ordinary cathedral, beautiful, has probably a lot of history to it, but I never would have guessed that it was the largest cathedral in the United States, or one of them. Um, so that was really interesting to know. Um, since I'm not Catholic, um, I was a little worried going into it and going to an actual like baptism, even though I knew the family and that was getting baptized. I still felt a little like not sure how other people who belong to the church and that was like their home church would feel about like me, who's not Catholic or has never been to this church, would feel. But I actually felt very welcomed, and I didn't get any stares, or it was just a normal like go through everything that they went through. Um, and I felt very welcome, so that made me feel a lot better once I was in there. I do know, or I have found out that they're very strict on like their communion and like I guess their sacraments. So if you're not a member or not Catholic, um, you don't do communion because they want you to, I guess, go through their sacraments, the Catholic sacraments. So, like, I guess baptism's the first one, and then communion and confirmation. So they're very strict. So if you're like not Catholic, you can't participate in actual communion, but you can still sit through the service and yeah, wait for it to end. But still, like just sitting there while other people around you are going through communion, I didn't feel um, like they were judging or anything. It still felt like really normal. Um, let's see. Um, my worship experience. So, since I actually got to experience a baptism, a Catholic baptism, um, I'm used to like baptisms, like you're in like kind of like a big tank, and you're like the priest and yourself are like in like submerged in the water, like in clothes, and you get like taken like back. But for a Catholic baptism, it's like usually baptisms are held. They want like you to baptize like a baby. So like if you have a son or a child in the Catholic religion, you're supposed to baptize them when they're a baby to, I guess, rid of their sins and let them have like a fresh, clean life. Um, so that was kind of new. I mean, I know that babies do get baptized. That's kind of common. But so the parent or like a godparent will hold the baby, and the priest will put water like on their forehead and like the sign of a cross, so they're not like dunking them in water, or the baby's not like sitting in water. It's just the priest will come and put water on their forehead. So that was I got to experience that. Also, after like the baptism, they went through like a regular service, where it was vice versa, and I they like Catholics, they do incense. So like a priest will have like a metal, I'm not sure what it's called. It's like a metal object, and he'll swing it, and the incense will be like released from it. And he walks around. He does that in certain areas of the church. So that was also something I got to experience because I haven't seen that before. And then you'll go through communion, and you'll get the bread and the wine. So everything, I got to experience the whole, I guess the how their tradition of like communion and a whole service at this cathedral. So it was pretty interesting, and I really got to really open like my eyes of how other religions um, do things. So that was really cool. Um, I was able to talk to someone that worked at the church. I'm not sure what their role in the church was, but I did find someone like in an office, and I just asked them just a few questions that I was wondering about the particular church itself. Um, and I asked how the name of the church came about, if there's like a certain reason behind like how they chose the name or why. And I was just told that it was named after the Lady of Guadalupe. And I was also told that this cathedral is one out of two out of the whole United States that was actually named after the Lady of Guadalupe. So that was pretty interesting. I didn't know that. So this church obviously has like a lot of history and is also well known, not just in Dallas or Texas, but across the whole United States. So that was actually really, really cool. And then also, I saw, excuse me, there was different times for English and Spanish services. And there were a lot of them. There wasn't just like one English and one Spanish, and that was it. There was probably like 6 or 8 all in one day of Spanish, English. And I was just asked about that and why, I guess, why were there so many? And I was told that this cathedral is one of like the largest, holds one of the largest like Latino communities. Like it's one of the largest Latino parishes, um, and so it's every Sunday it's filled. The whole church is just filled, and they do services for both English and Spanish speaking because of this. Because it is the largest Latino parish, so that was pretty interesting. I didn't know that at all. So I think that's it. I really enjoyed this experience. I learned a lot about this church and its history, and the people, the traditions. It felt kind of cool to just like step out of my comfort zone and go experience something that I've never experienced. And I wouldn't mind going back and experiencing a different kind of service, or even like a Catholic marriage, or something around that. It was really cool, and I enjoyed it a lot. So I'm glad I was able to do this worship site report and take this class, because if it wasn't for this, I would have never gone to this cathedral or experienced any of the things I experienced. So I really enjoyed it, and thank you.